Hey there, YouTubers, and we are back to another very spooky episode of Session Report, the show that takes you to the gamer's table to share in the surprises that come out during play. And, shh, the baby's sleeping, so we're going to try a few more turns, and hopefully, if we keep our voices very low, we won't have to wake her up. So let's just sort of prop this up over here so we can keep an eye on her. And, I'm really curious about how this story is going to turn out. So let's see what we can accomplish here. Let's see. We were just about to take the next turn with the Ghost Writer. She can play tears or tears. Okay. So yeah, that's a good word. I think we'll go with that. The coroner, Dr. Honeycutt, turned around just in time to see a bunch of new tears open up in the body of Bobby Birdwick, that unfortunate teenager who had been caught in the woods, as though she were being attacked by some invisible creature, some invisible beast. So, new tears are opening up. That's a 5-letter word. This is the last letter, so we get a +1 letter card in my next hand. And we can buy a 3-cent card here. So we've got EN or AN. Let's kind of look at what's in my discard pile because I've forgotten. This is the problem of pausing all of the time. Well, fend. Fend is a word that I can make. Fend, and then S, fends, and that's a very thematic word as well. So we're going to go ahead and grab the EN here and add that to our discard pile, and then we will end the turn. We've got this extra card in our hand. We'll keep the extra card aside, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're going to shuffle up. Five, and add that card to our hand and see we've got 1 wild, 2 wilds, definitely not the 4 or more wilds that they had mentioned in my Ghost Rider special powers. Lame. And then we're going to use our special die to see which of these 3 cards is going to get a cube. And it's going to be card 2, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so it's going to be that same card we already had a cube on, which is both good and bad. Unfortunately, if that same card gets 5 cubes, we lose. But if it gets 4 cubes, then I can buy the card. That's actually good for me. So let's see what we've got here. We've actually got a ton of wilds here. So we're going to be able to trigger the stuck key ability. If the word has 3 or more wilds, it gets an extra cent. 1, 2. Unfortunately, it's still only going to be 3 cents. But I can make any number of crazy words with SL. But since I don't really need, I want to use at least 3 wilds. So again, I could make something like steel, or I could make something like, let me see, sleep, right? Sleep. Ooh, that's a pretty good one. So we're going to do another set of asterisks or another line across the bottom of the page, and we're going to jump back to Professor Hildegard jerked awake. Was it Hildegard or Hildebrand? It was Hildegard. I don't know why I wrote Hildebrand here. Professor Hildegard jerked up from her sleep. Okay, so we've got 3 cents here because of my stuck key ability. We can buy a 3-cent card. That's one of these leftmost cards here. If this is the last letter, +1 card in your next hand. Well, I definitely want to get those +1 cards in my next hand. Because if I can get 3 or more wilds, I gain an extra cent. I also have, so far, ON, IN. I don't know if I really need an AN as well. So we're going to grab the letter T. or do I just want to grab a 2-cent card? Let's grab the letter T. Hopefully that'll pay off for me in the future. And that is that turn. We're going to choose a random card to get a new cube. That's this one over here. And we'll deal out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we'll head back over to the ghostwriter. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 2 wilds. So the most I can get is 5 points out of this, and I could get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 letters. Not enough to get this next common. But I know an easy word I can make. Listen. Listen. And we'll use our toughest love of all. Listen. Professor Hildegard jerked awake in her sleep. Jerked upright from her sleep. She listened. But the sound that she had heard, that horrifying, inhuman bellow, was no longer there. It was only echoed in her mind. It must have been a bad dream, she thought to herself. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cents with which to buy things. None of the 5-cent cards are still available, so we're going to go ahead and buy one of these 5-cent cards. If there's first letter in the word, plus 2 cents, or plus 2 cards to my next hand. Plus 2 cards to my next hand could be really nice, but it only is worth 1 cent, whereas this one, it's worth 2 cents plus 2 more cents if it's the first letter, which does sound really nice. Let me see. I think we're going to go with the letter P for now. So we can go with the letter P and draw up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Any wilds? Not enough, but this will be a very high scoring hand. That's good, because I want to purchase one of those cards. And then we'll figure out which card gets a cube. It's this one again. So again, this is getting a little scary, but look, I can probably afford one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ooh, only 6. All right, if war scores 8 cents or more plus 1 card in my next hand, can I do... Ooh. Oh, this is perfect. Oh, darn it. I thought I could make the word sinner, but it's going to be sinister. And it's not quite enough letters to make sinister. So we'll have to figure out something else to do with this hand. Professor Hildegard was unable to sleep. Drenched in sweat that was rapidly cooling in the cold, frigid air of Greenland, she got out of her bed and went into her library, where she examined her collection of ancient arrowheads, ancient, iron tools left by the Vikings who had once come to this land, and, of course, her many resins, which always brought her comfort. She always enjoyed... What is resin? I think it's kind of like a preservative for wood things, right? So she always enjoyed the woodworking of the people who had once lived here long before. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's a 6-cent word. That's pretty good. Not enough to buy one of these, but we can get this really awesome letter F. Fame cards cost minus 1 cent that turn. Or you can make an adjacent card wild, and it still counts. It still gives you the points. We're going to grab the F, though. I think that's a really good one to have. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Roll. Card 1 again. So we are in trouble. We're going to have to purchase that card this turn, which fortunately we should be able to do with this hand. Let me see. Okay, looks like we are waking up. Maybe not. I think somebody just went into the other room. So we got a little bit of wriggle out of her. Yeah, I think somebody made too much noise going into the bathroom, so we're going to have to head in there. Darn, I was really looking forward to seeing what I could make with these letters in my hand. Think she's gone back to sleep for now, so let's see what we can do. So, the wood carvings, actually they were ivory carvings, most of them, depicting the creatures that the Vikings discovered here in this land of Greenland when they first came here. These creatures that were like monsters from their legends. And then some things, that were recognizable as animals, walruses, whales, various creatures of those sorts, but then also some strange fiends, the likes of which modern humans had never seen. They didn't look like any animals that were around anywhere these days. So we've got a really nice word here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 letters. Not enough to get the common card, but the S is the last letter, so I'm going to get an extra card draw for next turn. I get to gain a card costing up to 6 cents, and then I'm going to be able to purchase that card because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 points. That's pretty good. So let's grab my card costing up to 6. This one you can trash 2 available non-fame cards from the offer. That could be nice. And Ys are always really good. To, for instance, end a word. Plus 2 cards in your next hand. That was also a great card. Moving up to the 6-cent cards, gain a card costing up to 4 cents. You may make an adjacent card wild and it still scores. I think we saw that one already. I think this well, you may make an adjacent card wild. I don't think that counts for my Ghostwriter ability. Actually, I really like this plus 2 cards next hand. The reason I really like this is because for my Ghostwriter ability, I want to get a lot of cards in my hand so that I can get those 4 wilds and then draw additional cards. Although I really don't know how often I'm going to get that to trigger. But you know what? I mean, if it'll help me get a big hand, I'm going to go for it. So we're going to get, it says up to 6 cents, we're going to get the 5-cent card. Then we're going to spend 7 cents out of my 9 buying Dead Planet, which I don't think we've seen yet. Dead Planet. Life on this rock was supposed to be extinct. Now their lives would be extinct. My goodness, that looks exciting. Of course, by the famous author Page Turner. And then I have 2 cents remaining, I believe. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we're going to grab this single-use 2-cent card, and that's it. So we've got an extra card draw. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we've got that. And let's see what we've got. 3 fame cards. I don't think I'm ever going to get Ghostwriter to trigger, which makes me wonder how this card works in a multiplayer game. Is it even usable? Anyway, since I bought a fame card this turn, I don't need to add another cube out. And let's see what we get here. We've got another space bar. Ooh, I could do ton again. And then ton of. That's pretty good. I could also do oh no. Maybe not so good. A tune, like a Disney character, a tune. Yeah, we're gonna go with ton of. So spacebar, ton of. And I looked up the rules. So the spacebar, I believe, just only counts as 1 cent, even though it's a little confusing because it's got the 1 cent over here and it says plus 1 cent. But It does count as a character, and for the word length, it counts all of the characters in both words together. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Still not 8, but that's pretty good. So let's see. She shook her head. There, of course, were a ton of artifacts that confused the civilizations that found them, that seem to represent things that are unseen in nature. And maybe they did. Maybe they were representing things that that the likes of which we've never seen. But maybe they don't. Maybe they were the imaginations. Maybe they were. Oh man, I really let that get away from me. Let me start that again. Of course, archaeologists had always found a ton of artifacts that confused and baffled them. Artifacts that looked like creatures straight from the imaginations of the people, the ancient civilizations who had carved them. And yes, maybe some of them did come from the imagination, but maybe some of them represented something more, something that had once lived and was no longer walking the surface of the earth. Or maybe something that was biding its time to walk the surface of the earth again. Okay, that was much more successful. So we've got we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cents, and I have to trash this card, of course. So 6 cents, I might as well grab the 6-cent card. Ooh, double the score of an adjacent card. Now that's really fancy looking. And then also, I was looking at this B, though. You may make an adjacent card wild. It still scores. And since I have stuck key, if it's wild, I assume, it triggers that stuck key ability of having 3 wilds in my word. Let me see. Not sure. Yeah. So I think I'm going to grab the B to start with. Perfect. And 1. And since I didn't put out didn't buy a card, I'm going to put out a cube. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So on dead planet there. Perfect. All right. Okay. Pretty good. Pretty good. All right. So I think that's a good stopping place again for this evening. I wanted to come in and maybe do a few more turns because I'm really curious about where this story is. Let me make a note here that I've added some ivory carvings to the storyline, and we will see what we can. Oh, also, I believe there was an inhuman bellow. And we'll see how we can wrap things up maybe the next session.